What's up guys, and welcome to another episode of 5 Mechanical Keyboard Interest Checks. If this is the type of information that you find useful, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. Every little bit helps. Anyway, what is this episode about today? This episode is going to cover some classical music, some V2s of popular boards, and possibly a board inspired by a dog. Anyway, stay tuned till after the break. First up, we've got a set inspired by vintage grand pianos and classical music. This is GMK Maestro, posted by Hung Hing Dailo in September. The main colors for the set are GMK stock WS4 and CR. The accent is a RAL ochre yellow. Kit-wise, you've got a bass featuring your standard layout support, novelties featuring common symbols and sheet music, golden accents, and an obscure kit for 40s and split support. There's even 2 desk mats to choose from. The set is expected to enter group buy in February 2021 and will be run through TX Keyboards, Desk Hero, Prototypist, Ilum KB, and Daily Clack. Let's take a look at a few renders here. Honestly, I feel like I've seen several black, white, or black and white kits in the last couple months, so this key set isn't that exciting for me. I will say, however, that the use of WS1 paired with CR does bring the vintage piano vibe. However, while I get the symbols on the novelties, these symbols are not exclusive to piano sheet music. While it fits the classical music theme, it almost feels kinda out of place when the main colors are meant to be piano-like. It's almost like the theme of classical music was added on to justify the use of these novelties. The desk mats are very ornate, and maybe has too much going on. When I think of grand pianos and classical music, I think of elegance, grandeur, I think classy, I think of the word clean. Neither of these desk mats really exude those factors. I've mentioned on stream several times, but I prefer it when a desk mat doesn't have the design in the middle. This is because I put my keyboard in the middle, and if there's a design there, it gets hidden. For this desk mat though, we have a piano and a violin in the middle, and this actually works, because it's almost like telling us to put our instrument, mainly the keyboard, in the middle. If you look at this render here, this actually sells it to me, because when you put your keyboard in the middle, the sheet music frames your keyboard. Due to numerous similarly colored sets, I'm going to have to say that the MechMerlin verdict for this is a maybe. Next up is the S66, posted by Sartori24. The S66 is a 660 layout board with the twist that the arrow keys are separated out. It will have a 5-degree typing angle, 1.5mm aluminum or brass plate, burger mount with 4 points for mounting, internal brass weight, a QMK and VIA supporting PCB with ESD protection, and a center mount USB-C port. It's currently set to a price of $385 to $425, but there is no vendor or group buy date announced quite yet. As some of you know, 660 is actually one of my favorite layouts, but one of my biggest complaints is that I wish the arrow keys were separated out. I also wish that the USB port would be more centered rather than the stock position that the Leopold FC660 has it. This board takes care of both those issues. In my opinion, there's already a fine line between the 660 and the 65% layout. So when you separate out the arrow keys like this, you're kind of tiptoeing over that line. With the popularity of 65s currently so high in our community, I wonder if marketing it as a 660 may lead to decreased interest in sales. However, do keep in mind that there are only 40 of these, so this might work to their advantage. Unfortunately, there's not too many photos here and the colors are all dark, so it's hard to really scrutinize any of the aesthetics. In terms of mounting, I'm personally not a big fan of burger mount because I think the added difference in sound and in flex is too minimal to warrant the additional build complexity and cost. In my opinion, those O-rings are far too small to give any kind of justifiable difference. I guess one of the reasons why I was drawn to this because it was advertised as pseudo gasket mount, and gasket mount is such like a hype word in our community that when I saw it I was like, ooh, gasket mount, but in reality it's only a burger mount. The MechMerlin verdict for this board is a strong maybe. Next up is the E7 V2 from Exclusive, posted earlier this month. The E7 V2 is the follow-up to their widely successful E7 V1, first released in 2018. This 75% board is gasket mounted, has a 5.5 degree typing angle, and has separated out arrow keys and rightmost column. For the plate, you'll have the option to select aluminum, brass, or FR4, and for the weight and back plate, you'll have the option to do brass instead of aluminum. The board will also have a polycarb layer for underglow effects. You'll have a choice of so many different colors in either anodized, Cerakoting, or electrophoresis. In terms of PCB, it will support both QMK and VIA, and the USB port will be on a separate daughter board. Prices will be anywhere from $435 to $540. From the looks of it, they are planning to start the group buy this month, so if you're interested, please pay attention to those links. As some of you know, in addition to 660, 75% is another one of my favorite layouts. Like currently I've only tried integrated, tray mount, top mount, but I've never tried anything that's a gasket mounted 75 before, so I'm really excited about this board. I really like this particular layout of the 75, as I always felt your standard ones popularized by the Keycool KC84 or the KBD fans KBD75 were way too compact. Admittedly, that's the point of having a 75, but I feel like when the function row, the arrow keys, and the rightmost column are that jam-packed, sometimes you'll mistype and press them instead. I love everything about how this board looks from the side profile, the face, except for the Exclusive logo on the back. That one doesn't really vibe with me. Sure, you won't see it because it's on the bottom of the board, but there's something about that Exclusive logo that detracts from the clean nature of the rest of the board. Maybe if the logo was smaller, or maybe if it was just a small engraving on the actual weight, it would look better. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think. If you guys like 75% and can swing around $500, the MechMerlin verdict is a strong maybe. Next up is the PAW Arrow Cluster Macro Pad, posted by Dingus McKee in early October. The PAW is a polycarb arrow cluster Bluetooth macro pad with a top-mounted brass plate and a brass weight. It will have USB-C, 4 RGB LEDs, ESD protection, and will utilize its own open-source firmware, GMK. The board will sell for $150 and will be available for group buy starting October 26th, with an expected ship date of around January 2021. So as I was looking through all these interest checks, you could say that what gave me pause on this particular interest check was that it's ridiculously cute. Like, look at this, look at this. Personally, I wouldn't have a use for a macro pad this small, but this is something I'd probably have as a desk ornament. Bluetooth is typically not a strong feature of QMK, so I'm glad that this macro pad allows for that. However, it does use a different firmware to do this. The main reason they went this route was apparently for a more permissive license and for better battery optimization. GMK is licensed under MIT and QMK is licensed under GPL v2. The good news is they will be providing a QMK fork for you to self-compile if you choose to go that route. Given its features, I can see why it's $150, but if you're looking at this primarily as a macro pad, primarily as an arrow macro pad, then $150 seems a little too expensive. I'd probably give this one maybe $100, maybe $90 instead. If you like the look of a 60% or smaller board, but can't get over the fact that there are no arrow keys, this might be the macro pad for you. The MechMerlin verdict is maybe. Last but not the least is the Dalco 959 Mini, posted by Dale Snail at the end of September. This is a collaboration between Hand Engineering and Dale Snail and is inspired by the Porsche 959. Like another board we just talked about, the 60% uses O-ring gaskets, also known as burger mount, but it seems like they also give you the option to do this with the regular top mount. This board will have a typing angle of 7 degrees, a front height of 17.6 millimeters, and an unbuilt weight of 1,950 grams. The PCB will be designed by Cable Car Design. These are the same people behind the ANSI, Prophet, and Cypher, and the PCB will support various layouts. Currently, there's still not too many photos in this Geekhack thread, so there's not even a price there, but if you're interested, they do provide a Discord link which you can check out. They may have more information there. This board caught my eye primarily because of that nice brass weight and silver accents on the board. Admittedly, it's not something you'd ever see during normal operation, but something about how that board looks from the bottom really gets me. To me, this board looks absolutely classic. He has a little FAQ section here stating that the brand is Dalco. The series is 959, and this particular board is called the Mini. Even though I'm not big on the 60% layout of this board, I'm looking forward to the other sizes that will come out under the 959 series. If you're a big 60% fan, the MechMerlin verdict is consider. Alright guys, thanks for joining in on another episode of 5 mechanical keyboard interest checks. If you want to know more about any of these interest checks, definitely hit up those links down below. Anyway, hope you guys have a good rest of your week and a great start to your weekend. And I'll catch you next time. Goodbye now.